3D collectathon platformers were all the rage in the mid-90s thanks to the success and popularity of games like Super Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie, and while Clive N Wrench has you time traveling through a refrigerator from the 50s, its heart is very much rooted in 1996. I don't know if I'm ready to be nostalgic about this genre just yet, but hey, time keeps moving and I'm old. In Clive N Wrench, our story centers around the rabbit Clive and his partner Wrench the monkey, who are on a quest to stop the evil Dr. Dawkus, who has stolen blueprints to create a time travel device. His ultimate goal is to collect as many ancient stones as possible, which will make him some sort of almighty powerful being. I don't know, he wants to go on a power trip, okay? Naturally, you're not going to want this to happen, so Clive and Wrench jump into a portal of their own and our time traveling adventure begins. You know, I gotta say, Wrench really gets the raw end of the deal in this game. He's typically used as a propeller so you can glide to otherwise unreachable areas, or he's used as a whip to defeat enemies. He's gotta be in one hell of a world of pain. Anyways, just as you would expect, all the basics of this genre are intact. You'll be jumping, double jumping, climbing, hanging, and sniffing out a wide assortment of collectibles, including watches and maps across 11 decently sized worlds, all of which carry a unique theme. From Egypt to a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids style world, a good deal of creativity went into each of these areas, and I'll admit some of the writing, mainly the puns, did get a little bit of a chuckle out of me. It's a bit of a shame then that Clive N Wrench can't always sustain its lengthy playtime. While the overall platforming and dashing feels solid outside of some woeful and very odd frame rate dips, collecting ancient stones, the main goal of this game, can range from entertaining to downright boring. You do have a tracker to help you find treasure, but I honestly found it fairly useless and also mostly unnecessary. So overall, the core gameplay loop feels like a bit of a mixed bag. Some stones are fun to go out and hunt for, others are a chore and not fun at all to track down, and then the platforming itself is entertaining at times, but then those frame rate dips kind of throw everything off. Oh, and I didn't even mention the swimming in this game. It feels bad, like really clunky and bad. Ugh. Worse yet, some of the missions feel like a complete copy and paste job. I'm looking at you, collect this many items and bring it to person fetch quest. But at the same time, there's something therapeutic about just running around a world, discovering secrets, collecting watches, trying to grab everything. That part of the game, and why we loved these games in the 90s so much, is still intact for the most part. Completionists will be busy for some time here, and it's easy enough to bounce between worlds. The game does a decent job of tracking all of your progress, can't complain too much about that, but you don't necessarily need 100% in order to advance either, because a certain amount of stones unlocks a boss for each world. With the defeat of that boss, you unlock the next world. While the bosses, much like the rest of Clive N Wrench, won't serve up that much of a challenge, I credit the developer for some clever designs. Some of these patterns they throw at you were pretty fun to figure out. It's a shame then that Clive N Wrench can be a frustrating experience on a technical level, even outside of its frequent frame rate dips, which I know I mentioned. But yeah, one puzzle in this game, of which there are a few, I don't remember any of them being all that challenging though, completely broke on me and forced me to exit a world. Another kind of hilarious glitch found my character stuck while hanging and I couldn't do a damn thing about it. Frustrating to say the least. None of these bugs on their own are game breaking, but they start to add up after a while, which left me wishing the developer and publisher had delayed this game an extra few months to iron everything out. I did receive a few patches during the review process, but none of them seem to make that much of a difference, so be warned. There is some fun to be had without question, but plenty of headaches await you too. As for the visuals, Clive N Wrench is a tribute to the past, and they've done a nice job nailing that 3D aesthetic of the 90s without making the game look too atrocious in 2023. I thought the characters themselves honestly were a bit creepy and dead behind the eyes, but animations are solid and the art design of each world is quite lovely. I enjoyed each theme the game presents, with a hub world that feels alive and inviting. So overall, it's a nice looking, colorful game, just don't expect high-res textures or anything too mind-blowing. That leads me to the soundtrack, which was honestly one of my favorite aspects of Clive N Wrench. It's really fantastic. Each composition is quirky and original, doing a lovely job of capturing the spirit of whichever world you're in. Characters will mumble nonsense when you talk to them, and the sound effects are serviceable, making for a great overall soundscape that I really enjoyed. So yeah, Clive N Wrench, it's a solid collectathon platformer, but it honestly could have been so much more. I love the creativity that went into some of the worlds, and the core mechanics are pretty good too, but with frequent frame rate dips ruining my timing, bugs and glitches getting in my way, and repetitive missions, I walked away feeling kinda mixed on it. If you love 3D platformers of yesteryear, I think you'll have a good time in the end, but with a bit more polish, we all could have had a great time.